It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, wanted to go over a video that was suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community. So if you want to be able to suggest your own videos to be discussed and covered on this channel, you can go ahead and join the Discord, accept the rules with the knife emoji, and you can speak with the rest of us about DBD or other things like movies, books, whatever you want. You know what I mean? There's different topics that get discussed. But with that being said, there's a video from Skrump titled The Ending War on Gen Defense, which I'm not going to be covering the full video. If you want to see the original video, it'll be linked in the description, of course. He covers pretty much like the entirety of how the Gen metas and defense and all of that type of stuff. He separates it with eras and things like that.
These days, gen regression in Dead by Daylight is actually in a really good state.
You hear, let's hear it again. But just in case you missed it, all right? Just in case you missed it, we'll play it again. All right?
Actually in a really good state.
I'm gonna hear it again. Just one more, just to make sure we heard correctly.
Actually in a really good state.
Apparently. apparently, I don't know. Maybe I missed something. I must have walked into a portal and end up in an alternate universe where behavior is actually balanced in the game. Because that's crazy. Did I hear correctly?
These days, gen regression in Dead by Daylight is actually in a really good state.
I don't know what else to say to that one, big dog. Like, I don't know what else to say to that one, big dog. Like, I think you kind of dropping the ball on that one. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's kind of crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. I am not gonna lie, bro. That's crazy. Like, that's crazy, bro. I am not gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. Like, as you can probably imagine, I hard disagree with this. Keeping in mind that the current day and age with this game, current patch, stuff like that, all the regressions are basically terrible. Like, we can go through them one by one. I mean, you can literally just load up the game and look for yourself if you really are that curious. But let's keep in mind a couple of factors before we continue, okay? One, we have an 8 gen kick limit, right? That's what they call it usually, or damage limit. Let's call it damage limit, because if you say have surge, or you decide to use eruption or pain res or pop or whatever, all those things are counting towards the 8 hit limit on a generator. So if you're using eruption, you're actually kicking once, and then because it blows up afterwards, that's 2. So eruption's actually one of the worst culprits to deal with in this current mechanic that's in the game, and you're losing 2 every time. So say if you're trying to slow down one particular gen, you can kick it a couple times and it'll blow up a couple times. You might run out of it, because remember, it's like 2 each. So you're getting about like 4 kicks in before it's cooked. And a kick is like about 5%. That gets repaired pretty much instantly. Then keep in mind that your actual regression you're getting is 10% of the gen's progress, and that's also pretty much repaired in less than a couple seconds. So you're kind of like almost nerfing yourself in a lot of ways, depending on how many times you end up having to go back to that generator. And depending on your killer is also going to be a little bit important. If you're playing a low tier, well, you know, say goodnight to your gen, because you're not going to be able to get enough regression off of that. That's definitely one of the biggest examples. Pain res, of course, is 4 times that you're going to hit a couple gens, stuff like that. So already we're starting off with a mechanic that probably shouldn't have been in the game. Now, let's also add on the fact that the key here is that how do we get these regressions, right? How do we get these regressions? Well, any regression in this game usually besides like ruin or something, usually consists of you having to hit a survivor with an attack, then hit the survivor again with an attack, then pick up the person, and then also find a hook. Now on paper that sounds that sounds pretty easy, but let's also keep in mind there's a couple of nuances that go into that, right? So what character are we playing? Are we playing Blight, or are we playing Ghostface or Skull Merchant? Are we playing a mid-tier character, right? That's still pretty bad, but regardless, are we playing a mid-tier character? What map is it? How many pallets are on that map? How many pallets have been used on that map? How does your power interact with the map and its pallets? All of these things come into play, right? What is the skill level of the survivor, right? So on paper, like, oh, just hit them twice and get the pickup. But then we have to take into account all of those things. How many gens are already done, right? How much progress are you really taking away? And as we've seen in the PTB with Quiet Kills and Aaronad that were doing the anti-tunnel testing, he used Clown, got fast downs, used Pain Res, hit one gen, but there was 2 gens 99. So it didn't even matter. He hit the one gen with 20% from Pain Res, and the next gen popped right after. And then the same gen that got hit popped like pretty much right after that. You're like, okay, it did absolutely nothing. So in what scenario, in what universe are we in Bizarro world? Like, where did we come from with this type of take that's like, oh, it's in a good spot, huh? For who? Like, for who? Like, most of the roster is not utilizing the slowdowns any better than they could. Like, the slowdown is horrible. Now, if we're talking like what's even crazier is even just base slowdowns. Like, we're talking like just basic slowdowns, like even like Deadlock that got nerfed to 25 seconds for some ungodly reason. Who knows why? Who knows? They just high pick rate, I guess. So, oh, that's nerfed, right? Let's say we talk about Grim Embrace was nerfed too. And it had what, 10? It has 10 seconds of slowdown. For every brand new hook, you're getting 10 entire seconds of slowdown. Now, I've always heard the argument as well, like, oh, you're blocking all the gens, so it's like more than 10. It's like, not necessarily, because it's all happening at the same time. If it was 10 seconds, then 10 seconds, then 10 seconds, you're adding slowdown. You're like, boom, boom, slow down, slow down, slow down. If it's 10 seconds one time, that's 10 seconds one time. Like, it's just 10 seconds and that's it. Because if everybody's being stopped at the same exact time, that means there's no additional slowness that's happening. It's only L at once. And that's why Eruption's kind of bad, because you have to kick first, and then you have to somehow down them quick enough for those 10 seconds to make an impact. Because 10% of the gen is 10 seconds of time passing, right? So anyway, all of that to say, let's continue.
You still have strong perks like Ruin, Pain Res, Pop, and Surge.
Bro did not just say that Ruin was strong. Get the fuck out of here. Bro did not just say Ruin was strong. You gotta be fucking joking. My brother.
All of which are really solid perks.
So wait, so which is then? Are they really strong or are they pretty solid? Like, you gotta make up your mind here, bro. Like, are they really strong perks or are they pretty good? There's a difference there. You know what I mean? Secondly, Pop, I don't even really, I know a lot of people love using Pop. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's pretty bad. Because it's based off of current progress, which means that it's doing, like I've always said this, it always has to do an equation based around the actual progression, right, of the gen. So if the gen is like, oh, let's say 50 charges in the gen, you're only getting 20% of the 50 charges. So that's way less than, say, a flat 20 no matter what that, say, Pain Res is. And even then, Pain Res is bad. Like, Pain Res is still pretty bad. I'm like, it's really not that great. Especially because we've seen previously, and even in our own matches or whatever have you, it's not even a consistent, like, you guaranteed, no, I'm going to land my Pain Res every time. It's always reliable. No, it's not. You have to have, it has to be in the right space. Like hooks can just spawn in across the map on the other side of the universe. You will never, walk out with no perk value. You can walk out with it with 3-4 charges left, or even 2 charges left. So it's like, it's not a guarantee. It's not even guaranteed that it gets you value. It's very unreliable, and it's even worse so on lower tier killers like Pig, Ghostface, Skull Merchant, whatever. You know, I see a lot of people use it, but it's like, it's not good. Like, they're not reliable characters to do that. Secondly, like, low tier characters are just unable to reliably get fresh downs on fresh survivors. Like, that's just not how it works, unfortunately. Like, the maps don't lend any capability to do that. Their strength does not let any way to do that. You are kind of forced into those strategies and situations. And even if you're talking like mid-tier killers, I think they might even struggle too. Like, anything above C tier, like, and below A, like, you were talking like right in the B tier, and even then, that's a little bit unreliable as well, depending on the tier list.
Rarely feel as oppressive these days. There just aren't any ridiculous combos that need to be nerfed into the ground. The game is just fairly balanced for the most part.
Bro said fairly balanced for the most part. If balanced is, I don't know, like, what is it, 25-second gens and stuff like that. If that's balanced, then I don't know what world we're living in, bro.
Well, in terms of generator regression, I'd actually say that the state the game
Okay, he responded.
is in now is really, really solid. Other than some odd outliers here and there, the game's pace feels much healthier and doesn't feel
Much healthier? Huh? What? I mean, if okay, let me give the benefit of the doubt. All right, if we're comparing it to just early DBD, right? Like, because he went through era 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So if we're talking like comparing it to this, I go, okay, I get it, but that doesn't necessarily, like, people make that comparison a lot with this game. They're like, well, back then it was bad and it was like that, but that doesn't mean that today is good. Like, it still is bad. It's just a different form of it. Like, a piece of doo-doo is still a piece of doo-doo, even if you spray it with air freshener and wipe off some of the stuff on it. Like, it's still going to be a piece of shit. Like, it doesn't matter what you do to it. At the core level, it's a piece of shit. Like, oh, but it smells a little better, so that means it's better than before. It's like, okay, but that doesn't really mean we can't just throw away a piece of shit and get something better. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to sit with trash. Like, we can have better. We can do better. You know, I'm just saying. I don't know. That must be a wild hot take, I guess, in the community, because this is crazy.
as artificially extended as it once did. There are good perks, but ones that feel understandable and easy to counter if you play it right. The problem is that
it's funny that he says that there's artificial what did he say? Artificial extenders? I forget. Let me hear it again.
Healthier and doesn't feel as artificially extended as it once.
Artificially extended. Ironically enough, we forget to mention that exhaustion perks in the current meta artificially extend chase for no reason at all, without requiring any input from the survivor whatsoever. Besides, I pressed shift, I got away fast, the next pallet, I have yellow square on my screen, so all I gotta do is shift to yellow square. I'm like, hello? Like, whatever happened to like actually playing the game? Like, I don't understand. And I just don't understand like why that's like not in the conversation, I guess, with it. Like, I guess it's like purely focused on just like, oh my god, killer perks are like, we're bad, and now they're like kind of better, so that means this game's balanced. Like, that's not a, that doesn't mean it's good. Like, you know what I mean? A piece of shit is still a piece of shit. Like, it's not like you're making it any better because you decided to add something to it or change something about it. It's still at the core level a piece of shit.
Instead, there are good perks, but ones that feel understandable and easy to counter if you play it right. The problem is that Dead by Daylight
Bro said to play it right. Like, there's not really anything to play around. Like, you just don't go down, therefore gen gets done. Like, it's not that hard to counter
has
that.
now seen much more
You don't have to play that right necessarily.
manageable and easy to
Because of what, and I say that only because, not to say that there aren't good Survivor players, and not to say that there isn't skill to be had with Survivor, but the fact of the matter is that people can play extremely badly and still perform at the same exact level as somebody who is good at the game. that does know how to loop because of map design, palette density, yada, perks, yada yada yada. That I would say to me is the core problem. That like there's to me almost no difference until you look at macro, like little like looking at the gameplay directly. You go, okay, this guy's good. But it's like when you look at the results, like both are still escaping. It's not like you could be ass at the game, still make it out perfectly the same as the person who knows what they're doing. So it's like, to me, it's like you're dumbing it down too much. Like, what happened to learning and improving? Like, Killer's all about that, right? Like, that's what everybody says. Oh, just get better with Killer. Oh, get better with Killer. What about Survivor? Right? Why not get better with Survivor too? Like, why, you know what I mean? Like, why is that not a part of that culture as well? Like, I just don't understand that.
To deal with than they once did, and behavior is certainly better at dealing with these things in a timely manner than they once were, which is definitely one of the main reasons there are absolutely no insane, stupid metas in the game right now, which compared to everything else we've talked about today is definitely a good thing. I'd also say that Killers coming out these days being much stronger contributes to this, as behavior doesn't really need to worry about making some super strong gen slowdown because, you know, they don't really need it that much anymore.
Did you hear that? He said that we don't need perks to help combat the meta anymore. Let me hear it again.
About making some super strong gen slowdown because, you know, they don't really need it that much anymore.
He said we don't really need it that much anymore. Hens would like to introduce you to his world records. Like, Behavior would like to introduce you to 1, 2, 3, 4 skill check builds. Behavior would like to introduce you to the Stranger Things like 17-second gen PTV.
Well, unless we're talking about Trapper or weaker killers who definitely still need gen regression. Going through the past of Dead by Daylight's gen defense has shown me just how much the game has improved in the many years of its release. It's still not perfect, obviously, but knowing about the rough spots the game has been in through the past is something that has enlightened me quite a bit. He
says it enlightened him, but bro is literally just kind of spouting out a bunch of nonsense. Like, these devs have clearly failed. Like, they've clearly failed to create a good experience for both sides in every way possible. Like, we've seen this time and time again. They keep on failing to make it better. They keep on failing, and they consistently keep on failing. And there's too much evidence to push into the direction that they are failures at what they're trying to do. And it's just too much. It's too much evidence, dude. And this is like my issue with like content like this that sits on the fence or like likes to just kind of spotlight just specifically like it's this slide thing. You guys should be looking at the positives. Like, you can look at the positive all you want, but the negative is way too long and way too vast and way too true. Behavior has shown firsthand that they don't care about a good majority of their players. They do not care about the consumer. They do not care about us as at all. They were fully willing to sit there and shut down Chandler Riggs in the Walking Dead stream, who's arguably is a big name, by the way, like big name actor, like trying to promote your shit, and you shut his ass down. Big creators shut his ass down. Imagine if you're just a regular player. They care even less about you, and that's my issue. It's like, what are we doing? So let alone like all this BS they try to claim, like, oh yeah, we care. Like, no, you don't. You clearly don't. And going over the history of all the metas and where they were at is not really going to really change anybody's mind. Like, by trying to push a narrative that, oh, back then it was bad and unbalanced, so now it's perfect. It's like, no, it's not. It's not pretty good. It's not okay. Like, the gen regression is ass. Like, let's be honest. Let's be so for real. It's terrible. The highest tier killers can use any perk slowdown they want, which means that balancing doesn't affect them. So that means that it's more important to focus on who's in the A tiers, the B tiers, the C tiers, the D tiers, because that's the vast majority of the roster. Why are we not concerned with those characters? That to me should be way more important. We should be trying to equalize the playing field for those characters, because the gap should not be gigantic from S to A, or A to freaking B, or B to C, or even D. That's freaking crazy, but it's true. It's like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, what are we doing?
extremely easy to get bent out of shape due to some of the choices behavior has made over the years, and that's absolutely fair. But looking at the way the meta has evolved over the years, and behavior's constant attempts to address complaints about the game has reminded me just how capable they really are of listening to their player base and making good choices because of it. They don't get it right all the time, but there are certainly moments where they get pretty damn close. It'll be interesting to watch how the meta of chase-oriented perks we have now evolves over the years, and it'll...
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? For anybody who's aware, you know what I mean? If you know, you know. Basically, is what I'll say. I'm not surprised you're hearing a take like this. I'm not surprised. Like, let's be so for real. Okay? I'm gonna end it off there. If you want to watch the original video, it'll be linked in the description, of course. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments section. What do you think of the topic at hand today? I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know. And consider becoming a member. Alright, let's go ahead and read off our members from Patreon. Pro King 101. YouTube members. Cargan Falcon. Evil Blade. Cap Courteous. WTF You're Not J-Lo. Evil Peach. Cozy Bozy. Theo Endire. Dole Whip. Noxus. Zero Mocker. Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. And for the Twitch, we have Final Girl Bunny, Leona Art, Zazabu, Evil Blade, Danica, Pro Vader, Cake is a Road, Zeneron, Ginsburg, Mr. Morik, Kevin, Zero Mocker, Ashai Boo, and Gryffindor. Appreciate you guys supporting. Really means a lot. If you want to become a member, you can go ahead and join through Patreon or YouTube members, or even sub on Twitch. See you guys in the next one.